Hi, I'm Courtney Poole, and this video is about how much juice should I drink on a juice cleanse. So this is a really, really important part of juice cleansing. Probably more than any other factor, how much juice you drink is going to affect a lot of different things. It's going to affect how long you can go on the juice cleanse and how sustainable it feels, whether you're hungry, whether you're spacey, whether you're tired, or whether you've got quite a bit of energy and you're not, you're quite clear mentally. It's also going to affect how physically active you can be on a juice cleanse, and probably quite a number of issues, really. So it's a big thing to talk about, so we're going to just dive right in. So, I want to give a bit of an overview about the issue of how much juice to drink, and then I want to go into what I would recommend more specifically. So, I'll tell you exactly how much I would recommend, but first I'm going to give you the overview as to why. So, really, like I've been studying juice cleansing and different forms of cleansing, not just juice cleansing, but I've been studying them since about 2006. And so I've seen a lot of stuff over the years, and one of the questions I often get asked in my business is like, well, why is this program that I saw, why do I drink 2 liters there, and then this other program I saw only has one per day, and then what about 3 or 4, or what's this juice feasting thing, right? There's this confusion about what the right way to do it is in regards to how much juice you would actually drink. And the truth is, in my opinion, that objectively, as far as an objective across the board, applicable to everybody kind of rule, I feel that there isn't one. So I don't actually feel that ultimately there is a right or wrong amount to do. A lot of people get quite good results with varying amounts. But there are some quite important factors that might influence how much juice you drink. So if I kind of walk you through it a bit, if you compare juice cleansing, let's say, with what's called water fasting, which is where people just drink water, and actually, historically, if you look at different kinds of references to fasting, religious fasting, spiritual fasting, people who have used fasting throughout history, a lot of the times those people were water fasting, or sometimes they were fasting on like some teas and different things like that. But a lot of times it was water fasting. And even today, these days, a lot of religious fasting is still water fasting. So, you know, that exists. No juice exists. And then there are some juice cleanse programs out there which will call for what I would consider a low amount of juice per day. So that might be a liter or two. And sometimes those kinds of cleanses are called juice fasting. The term juice fasting tends to be more associated with lesser amounts of juice. And then there are programs that call for more of that. I recommend a kind of juice cleansing that I sometimes call juice feasting, which involves more juice, so more of the higher end amount of juice. And basically, the reason why it's important to look at the issue of how much juice you drink is kind of like what I said at the beginning of the video. So it's going to make a big difference in regards to how much energy you have, how long you feel like you can do it, whether you can keep up with your life, and things like that, right? Because a lot of people are concerned about that. They hear about juice cleansing and they're like, oh, but I don't want to be tired, and I've got to take care of family or kids, or I've got to go to school, or I've got to work and drive. And most of the people that I work with are doing juice cleanses at home, and I coach them in doing the juice cleanses at home. Now, I'll kind of contrast it with, let's say, somebody who goes and does a juice cleanse as part of a retreat. So I used to work at a juice cleansing retreat center for 5 years. And at that center, people did more of the juice fasting side of things, which has a bit lower amount of juice in it. And when you have a lower amount of juice, often you still get quite good results. People have gotten juice fasting, good results from juice fasts for a very long, for decades now, and it's there's a lot of precedent for it anecdotally. But Yeah, so if I compare that, people would come to our retreat center and they weren't doing very much juice, which what goes along with the territory of not doing very much juice is you probably will feel tired and hungry and maybe spacey. And so if that happens and you're not doing very much juice, to me that doesn't say, oh, something's wrong. To me that just says, well, yeah, because that's sort of what goes along with the territory of having sort of very few calories as well. So um, people who would come to this retreat center, even though that was the case, because you're in that environment, and you don't, like, you're not working, you're not driving, you're not taking care of kids, you're not going to school, you don't even have to make your own juice in a lot of cases, right? Which it's an awesome experience. Like, what a great way to vacation, I think. But it is different, So it's like, well, if you're tired, then you just take a nap, even if it's in the middle of the day, And if you don't have much energy, well, that's okay. You can just do some sunbathing and read a book and kind of make it through, right? But most people who want to do a juice cleanse at home, that's not the situation that they're in. And so, for that reason, the quantity of juice does make a difference. Um, and so, what I recommend to people is to try to aim for 4 liters of juice a day, which is about a gallon of juice. 4 liters is also pretty equivalent to 4 quarts of juice. It's close to 130 ounces. Give you all the measurements. And I also teach that you can actually even do more juice than that. So I have clients, for example, who have had days where, or even regularly, have done 5 liters of juice in a day or 6 liters. I've had some really active men who have done juice cleanses and they've even maybe done 6 or 7. And so the truth is that if you're doing it right, and we'll talk more about how to do it right, in future videos, but if you're doing it right, then really more juice is really just more nutrition for your body, right? It's more phytonutrients, more minerals, more vitamins. It's just giving your body more to work with. The caveat to that, which I'll go into probably in another video, is that for that to be the case, it does need to be mostly green juice and low sugar juice, vegetable juice, that type of thing. But, I've actually seen in some cases that people who drink more juice, particularly if the juice they're drinking is mostly veggie juice, that they often get faster results and better results than people who drink less juice. With less juice, like I said, you are more likely to have some of these detox symptoms, which are not a bad thing. Like, if you can make it through them and they don't bug you that much, then that's fine, But with more juice, you're less likely to have detox symptoms. You're more likely to feel quite stable, and I've had people who, if they are drinking enough juice, sometimes I've had people tell me not only did they have that they'll tell me they actually have more energy sometimes than they did when they were eating if they drink enough juice. It's also possible to drink enough juice to the point where you're not even hungry anymore. Drinking juice will never feel in your tummy like it feels to eat bread or sort of be full in that way. But you can drink enough juice to the point where, from a calorie and nutrition, like nutrient standpoint, your body does turn off the hunger mechanism because it's had enough. So it is actually possible to do a juice cleanse in a way where you rarely feel hungry, where your energy level is quite good, where you're not having spaciness or tiredness or things like that. And I find that the number one factor as far as what affects people and how they feel on the juice cleanse the most is how much juice they drink. Most people don't drink enough juice. There's a strange thing with pre-made juice cleanses, like if you go to a juice bar or you order an online cleanse, where there seems to have become this sort of precedent for how much juice is involved in these cleanses. And it was interesting to me when these cleanses were first coming out, because when I was studying juice cleansing initially in 2006, 2007, juicing hadn't really caught on. In a mainstream way, there weren't a lot of juice bars. People weren't really drinking fresh juice. People weren't, the juice cleanse thing was not that popular. I mean, now it's crazy. I can go to my like grocery store down the road, just a standard grocery store, not even a health food store, and they've got like cold pressed juice there. It's amazing. But there's become this sort of precedent to how much juice is involved in these cleanses. But take it from me, there's actually no particular reason why it's that quantity. It just seems to have become the kind of standard for what the industry does. But you can have more, and I recommend having more. I think that it's much more sustainable to not deprive yourself when you're hungry and to, have a juice cleanse be as much about abundance as it can be. A lot of people have a lot of emotions about deprivation that come up on a juice cleanse, and I just think that's enough to deal with. Don't make things harder for yourself by forcing yourself to just endure feeling really hungry all the time. Is better just drink more juice. It's fine. And interestingly, I've even found, this is one thing people often ask me about. They say, well, yeah, but what if I want to lose weight? What if that's my, one of my goals for doing a juice cleanse? Well, if you do a mostly green juice, you're not overboard on fruit juice. I have actually found in many cases that people who drink more juice lose weight as fast, if not faster, than people who drink less juice. So don't think that drinking more necessarily is going to mean that you're going to have slower results even in that way. So, let's see. Oh yes, I wanted to say too that people often ask me about fitness and exercise. Can you do a juice cleanse and work out? The answer is yes. It just depends on how much juice you're willing to make and drink. So, as an extreme example, not everybody wants to do this on a juice cleanse, but I had a client once who did about a 70-something day juice feast. And towards the latter half of it, she decided she wanted to start training for a marathon. And so she was running, like, I want to say it was like an hour a day, something like that, or close to it. She typically drank about 6 liters of juice in a day. But she did it. She did the training and she just drank a ton of juice. And there were some other superfoods that she added in, which I'll talk about supplements and superfoods in another video. But the biggest factor for her was still that she drank that much juice. So you can do various kinds of exercise. You can do like weight stuff. You can do cardio stuff. There's lots of different options, really. And it just depends on how much juice you drink. So so that is definitely a possibility for you. Another aspect that's really interesting is for anybody who is concerned about the issue of a juice cleanse slowing down their metabolism or like their digestion or something like that. That's also why doing a juice cleanse with a lot of juice is a better bet. Because if you do a juice cleanse with a lot of juice, while your calorie intake is going to be probably lower than it normally is when you're eating and drinking your normal routine, which is part of the benefit of it, it'll still be lower than that. But you can drink enough juice to the point where from a caloric standpoint, you actually are having close to or as much as you would if you were eating or if you were on kind of a caloric count for weight loss while you're eating, right? So, and if that's happening, your metabolism is not going to slow down and your digestion isn't going to be compromised either. And so you can have as much calories as you normally would have, or in the range of what you would normally eat, which means that you don't have to worry so much about that, which is a nice thing as well. So if you are concerned about that, your answer then is just drink a lot of juice. And the other thing too is when it comes to the length of a juice cleanse, like if you're going to do a 3-day juice cleanse and you're only drinking 1 liter or 2 of juice, like maybe you can get through 3 days of feeling kind of tired and hungry. But after that point, like most people just get tired of feeling tired and hungry. And so then they burn out. So if you've ever seen or heard of someone do a 3-week juice cleanse or a month or 2 months or 3 months, they're probably doing a lot of juice. To date, I've never seen someone do a long juice cleanse like that on small amounts of juice. Because you just have to, for it to be sustainable, you've got to feel like you can execute your life fairly well. You're not like starving all the time, right? And you feel pretty supported in that way. And because you've got so much nutrition going into you, you know, if you do a juice cleanse right with a lot of vegetable juice, you're going to get more nutrition going into your body in one day than you might have previously gotten in a week, or for some people, like a month. You know, it's just so packed. And going back to what I was just mentioning as well about, like, can your body really survive on it? And, you know, is it enough? And is it going to slow down your metabolism? That's another factor too. If you're flooding your body with nutrition, you're actually even getting more nutrition than you would if you were eating. Your body's going to be very happy with that. And you're going to be more likely to be able to go for a long period of time as well. So that's kind of the basics for the quantity issue. So I'm going to have more videos where we talk about different aspects of juice cleansing and clarify different parts even of what I've talked about in this video. You can always email me as well if you've got questions, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.